Rounds 3 and 4 of the EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 seasons take place at the American Speedfest at Brands Hatch, celebrating its 10th running with amazing cars on display, tens of thousands of spectators, a podium and a victory lane right there among the fans who get to do so much more than just take in the racing action. Lots to do and lots to see around Brands Hatch on Speedfest weekend, beyond the incredible 1.2 mile or 1.9 kilometre fortress that is the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Just 6 turns, but each of them an immense challenge.
The Brands Hatch circuit has a rich tradition in the NASCAR Wheel and Year series, and one man who saw all of the American Speedfest is Luca Lasser. But you're not only a Speedfest veteran, you're also the current EuroNASCAR Pro Championship leader. How is it to be back with your team Speedhouse, not only as the owner but also as a driver?
Yeah, but you know, my principal job is team owner, so my second is driver. But yeah, I combine the both, and for sure I have a long day, and the long job to do with my few drivers. I arrive here as a leader with my proper team, and it's great for me because I'm unique in this championship to have this role. So yeah, it's exciting for me and for all my crew. So that's good.
We have the American Speedfest with all this stuff here. The people have so much fun. It's for the families. You saw the event evolve, becoming more and more popular. What do you like about Brands Hatch?
Yeah, for sure. About Brands Hatch, it's you are like a warrior, because with 50,000 spectators, it's just an amazing in this arena, because the track is so tricky. So we are just a pure racing with a pure driver, and you need to fight.
Gianmarco Ercole was the man that took pole position for the first of the EuroNASCAR Pro races of the weekend. Ercole with a lot to be optimistic about as he chases down that championship leader we've just spoke to, Lucas Lasser, along with the likes of Anthony Kumpen, Vittorio Garelli, Giorgio Maggi, Sebastian Bleekemolen, and of course Liam Hazelmans, who's right there alongside Ercole on the front row of the grid as we get ready to go racing. Those two had a bit of a coming together in Valencia. They've made up, they've talked it through between events. But side-by-side action into the first corner, that could all change very quickly. It looks as though Gianmarco Ercole has the lead into the first corner. Yes, he does. It is Ercole, the early leader. Hazelmans remains in second place. Vittorio Garelli side-by-side there with Anthony Kumpen for third position. Giorgio Maggi back there in 6th place in the first of the yellow machines. The two Team Bleekemolen cars there trying to crowd out Anthony Kumpen. But Vladimiros Tsiotsis has slowed down between the first and second corners of the lap on Halewoods Hill on the very first lap of the race. The Cypriot driver, the current points leader in EuroNASCAR 2, has a problem. The car also broke down in qualifying for EuroNASCAR 2 this morning, and now he's lasted just one corner in EuroNASCAR Pro. There is a EuroNASCAR 2 race to come later on this Saturday, so let's hope that car can run again. But no more action for Vladimiros Tsiotsis in this race. Gianmarco Ercole continues to lead the way then from Liam Hazelmans in second place. Third position there, you can see Vittorio Garelli closing in, hounding the back of Liam Hazelmans. Hazelmans, last year's EuroNASCAR 2 champion, of course. Vittorio Garelli, also a former EuroNASCAR 2 champ. He launches it up the inside of Hazelmans, who drifts wide there, going out of Clark Curve and Clearways. And sure enough, Hazelmans has to yield to Vittorio Garelli there. Anthony Kumpen following the young Dutchman now. Anthony Kumpen, a former teammate of big brother to Liam, Mike Hazelmans. Big connections, long-standing connections between the families there of the Bleekemolens and Kumpens, as well as the Kumpens and the Hazelmans family. So all 4 of those cars running 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th are very much interwoven. Sebastian Bleekemolen used to race for Car Sport Holland, and indeed Liam Hazelmans' father, Twan, back in the day. So then Martin Dubeck, he's under pressure from the returning Tobias Downhauer, the number 99 car from Brimotion, the new team from Germany. A piece of bodywork coming off of one of the other cars there. believe that was Armetta. Lucas Lasser back in 10th position. You see him there just behind Tobias Downhauer. That is not where the championship leader wanted to be, but he didn't have a great qualifying session. Has to make some progress here to get some decent points on the board. Of course, in EuroNASCAR, it's 40 points for a win, 35 for second place, and then working down from there, you only lose 1 point per position. So as a matter of fact, it's not quite as significant of a drop as you have in some other series. Liam Hasemans, though, not looking to drop off the podium. Anthony Kumpen still keeping that watching brief as this battle between Dubek, Downhauer and Lasser continues to be at very close proximity. They run through Druids Bend once more. Battle for 8th place, I would argue potentially a battle for 7th place with Armetta just ahead. You also see Frederic Gabillon just behind as well, bringing some of the drivers from outside of the top 10 towards this queue as well. It could become an even more prolific and sizable battle before too long. We ride on board with Dubek as he tries to close in on Armetta. Ooh, and that does not sound good. Dubek, I think the gearbox potentially letting go on him there. But the number 7 will go no further. That was a very audible and painful expiration to the number 7 car. He's trying to return to the pit lane. Oh, but he comes across Max Lanza. And that sends Advait Yodar, sadly, into the wall. Lanza had to take evasive action. It gave Advait Yodar, the Indian racer based in London, absolutely nowhere to go. Really unfortunate scenes there. Everyone runs past the scene of the incident. Hasemans still there behind Vittorio Garelli. Seems as though Hasemans has started to wind the pace back up now, and Vittorio Garelli is falling into the clutches of the young Dutchman. Garelli there going defensive into Druids. And kicking up of dust from up ahead there. Potentially a sign that Jimmy Ercole has not slowed down one bit at the sharp end of the order. He is getting around one of the back markers there. That's the returning Yevgen Sokolovsky in the 48 car from the Marco Stipp Motorsport organisation. Liam Hasemans still not able to find a way past Vittorio Garelli. How much time does he have left on the clock? Well, not too much. He's going to be hoping that this lap traffic plays into his advantage in that number 50 car. Sokolovsky taking a wide berth there. Stays well out of the way of this battle for second position. Of course, all of this is brilliant for Gianmarco Ercole, who just continues to lap a little bit quicker, continues to manage a gap over this battle for second place. It's much easier to manage a gap when those behind you are occupying themselves with battle. Garelli and Hasemans still running line astern. And while Hasemans is certainly able to match Garelli, I don't know that he's got the pace to make an overtake around this circuit, where you do need to often have a bit more pace in the pocket to successfully make an overtake. It's more pronounced on the longer GP circuit, but even on the Brands Indy circuits, overtakes can be hard to come by. That said, these stock cars, these EuroNASCAR machines, are typically some of the best racing we see all year at the Brands Hatch circuit on the Indy or the GP configuration in terms of action. Meanwhile, Gianmarco Ercole comes across the line, and he takes his first win of the weekend, his second ever win at Brands Hatch ahead of Vittorio Garelli. Liam Hasemans couldn't quite get there. He finishes in third ahead of Anthony Kumpen. But for Gianmarco Ercole, that brings him right back into championship contention.
It was a dominant race for you, right?
Yeah, flag to flag, incredible progression of the car. It's an amazing race. I handling all my potential in all the race. I think entry the safety car, but no, better. And I improve lap by lap my driving. So I'm happy for the team, for me, for my sponsor. Win here is always incredible.
How was the race for you? You had an intense battle with Liam Hasemans, right?
Yeah, I mean, the start was good. I kept my third position. I was struggling with traction a bit all the race, so I couldn't do much more, you know. I found a way through with Liam, and then we battled through all the race. Hope the fans enjoyed, you know. It was a good race, and it wasn't enough for the win, but we try again tomorrow. We're starting P2, so looking forward to it.
What was missing to overtake Vittorio?
No, I mean, he just drove a really strong race, you know. The thing is, I made a mistake there, like I went a bit too wide, and then, yeah, he just, cut the inside. So, yeah, I also didn't try to keep on the outside or whatsoever, just taking some points for the championship. And, the thing is, I tried everything, but just, with the experience, you know what to do. I mean, he just closed the inside, going really slow throughout the corner, and then, just tried to block me to not make a switchback, you know, to get a better exit. I was always on his bumper, tried everything, but I thought about doing a dive bomb, but I thought, just try to keep the car like this for my teammate after also, so yeah.
Great success then for Cal Racing and Jimmy Ercole. Another victory for the prolific squad. Junior trophy classification going to Liam Hasemans, as well as that third place in the overall trophy, and Fabrizio Armetta taking the Challenger Trophy Championship lead. On to EuroNASCAR 2 then, and there are some home drivers to support for the UK-based fans.
The American Speedfest edition number 10, and I have a hometown boy here doing his first race ever in the EuroNASCAR 2.
It's a different focus because with the club challenge being regularity, it's about having that consistency, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas with like EN2, the race category, it's more about just going fast. Consistency helps you build up towards that speed, which is what I'm working on for today. But at the end of the day, it's the guy that gets the checker flag first. There's no other question about it. It's literally how fast are you over 31 laps.
It's not only your debut, it's also the first ever race of Greenmotion, a new German team in EuroNASCAR. How is it to work with them?
It's it's been interesting. Obviously, I've spent my years in the club challenge with the Marco Stipp team, so it's jumping into a new car, a new team. Although the cars are identical, there's always little differences. It's just where the gearbox is, where the pedals are arranged. So it's just trying to get used to those sort of things.
No process of integration for Alberto Nasca, the familiar combination of Nasca and Cal Racing on pole position. That number 54 car up there again, as it was with Gianmarco Ercole in the pro race. So the Italian superstar will be on pole position. Of course, Vladimir Osiortis taking 2 wins from 2 in the Valencia season opener. He's there on the second row. 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion Martin Dubeck to Nasca's outside as we go racing. Paul Giffreau there as well. We're underway, and Nasca immediately getting a little bit sideways there going into the first corner. Martin Dubeck clings on around the outside, and Vladimir Osiortis almost trying to make it 3 wide as they approach the first couple of corners for the first time. Out to Druids Bend they go, and it is Alberto Nasca still there in the lead. Dubeck from Siortis, from Paul Giffreau in 4th position. Giffreau had his fastest lap time deleted in qualifying after contact with Gil Linster, who's behind him there in 5th place. And Giffreau would have been on pole position if that lap had stood. And now Gil Linster's right there on the back of Giffreau as they approach Paddock Hill Bend. Linster to the outside in that number 50 car. Can't quite get the move done. Or can he? Because he's managed to slice back to the inside. He's got the line for Druids Bend, and surely that's the overtake he's looking for. Yes, it is. Giffreau demoted down to 5th position, then Gil Linster up into 4th place. Just 31 laps for EuroNASCAR 2. I think the word just is probably a little bit of a misnomer. This being a 1.9 kilometre circuit is the shortest race distance, or the shortest lap distance of the year by far. Hence there are quite so many laps. Vladimir Osiortis, though, having to take evasive action, as is the rest of the pack. A slowing car there, the number 46 of Nick Schneider slowing at Clark Curve. So a couple of early problems further back in the pack, but none of them affecting our leading cars. Osiortis there in second position then. Looking for a way past Alberto Nasca. Martin Dubeck in third position, keen to not fall off the podium here if he can possibly avoid it. He had a decent start to the EuroNASCAR Pro season, but EuroNASCAR 2 was a little bit more difficult for him in Valencia. One of quite a few drivers doubling up this season. Of course, Vladimir Osiortis also running in Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. And for Osiortis, it's a matter of intense importance to take a win somewhere other than the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. All three of his victories in EuroNASCAR 2 have come at Valencia, and that lockup for Alberto Nasca could prove costly as the weekend goes on, of course, because in theory, unless weather intervenes, these tyres will need to be used in race 2 as well on Sunday here at the American Speedfest. But Osiortis has never taken a win outside of Spain in EuroNASCAR. Could today be the day? Well, he's got quite the adversary in the form of Alberto Nasca. However, everyone is now going to be brought back together and back into a 2x2 formation. The safety car has been taken out onto the circuit, and that's to recover the 46 of Nick Schneider. 2x2 rolling start, then they will go back to racing. And it's Nasca once again on the inside line. Can Osiortis do anything from the outside? We start lap 10 of 31 in this race with Alberto Nasca there on the inside, and surely he's done the job. Yes, he has. He's retained the lead. Occasionally, if the driver on the very outside of the front row gets a particularly good start, he can challenge at Paddock Hill Bend on that first lap after 2x2 formation start, but it is quite a rare manoeuvre. Vladimir Osiortis has retained second place, however, and Gil Linster up into third position as well. And grass being kicked up further back, a little bit of contact. We saw Thomas Dombrowski at Druids having a little bit of contact, but it seems that by and large, everyone is okay. Here comes Osiortis, though, with a nice run out through Clearways and onto the Brabham Straight. Not quite able to get alongside the 54 of Nasca. Looks to the outside line at Paddock Hill Bend and is now going to try to cut to the inside of Nasca. He's done it. Can he have the position by the time they get to Druids? They're side by side as they go under the bridge and into the braking zone for Druids. And it is through for Vladimir Osiortis, the number 5 driver, into the race lead then. Can Alberto Nasca retaliate? And what about Gil Linster there in third place? Could he insert himself into this battle? Vladimir Osiortis once again leads in EuroNASCAR 2. Osiortis widely regarded as one of the best qualifiers in either of the EuroNASCAR paddocks. An impressive, incredibly fast driver. And more victories on the board will do his world of good. Confidence will only increase. Paul Giffreau trying to go around the outside here of Patrick Schauber. The 27 double V car, and you can hear Giffreau there trying to find some grip. And he's managed to do it around the outside at Druids. That becomes the inside line for Graham Hill. Very nicely done by Paul Giffreau as Patrick Schauber has to settle for losing a position there to the Frenchman. Schauber, the young Austrian driver, was very exciting, had a scintillating battle with Martin Dubeck at Valencia. Battle for second place, then Alberto Nasca has really lost touch here with Vladimir Osiortis, but Gil Linster is certainly letting the Italian YouTuber know, hey, I'm right here with you, buddy. And Martin Dubeck is not far behind either. Exciting battle then between these three. Make it 4, because Paul Giffreau up into 5th place, having been released by Patrick Schauber, is closing in too. Gil Linster getting a decent run there out of the final corners of the lap. Can he get to the inside of NASCAR? Don't think he's quite got that momentum, but he's going to take the wider line into Paddock Hill Bend to try and set himself up for a move. NASCAR tries to carry the apex speed despite the shallower entry into the corner, and he manages to do so, takes the defensive line into Druids Bend. NASCAR holds on to second place, but it's very much a four-car battle now for this second position. Giffreau down there in fifth place. He could end up on a podium in a matter of moments if it all starts to kick off between the three ahead of him. Lap traffic could play a factor in this as well. Alberto Nasca watching in the mirrors as Martin Dubek gets the inside of Gil Linster. It's Linster now side by side with Dubek. Linster potentially taking his eye off the ball momentarily there, and it only takes one slip up for an overtake to occur. Martin Dubek to the inside line. Has he got the third position? Yes, he has. Very nicely done by the driver of the number 7, the former EuroNASCAR 2 champion. He'd love to get a podium on the board in this first of 2 races at the Brands Hatch American Speedfest. Paul Giffreau, he might smell blood now. Is Gil Linster starting to struggle a little bit with the car? Is the setup maybe starting to go away from Gil Linster, the Luxembourg-based driver? Claudio Remigio Capelli behind Mikael Bleekemolen. These two fighting for 13th overall, of course, both drivers within Legend Trophy as well. Oh, and Bleekemolen there running it a bit wide. Capelli tries to go to the outside. An inevitable contact between the two of them. And unfortunately, with that car stranded, a yellow flag is inevitable. It's so late in the race, I think we're going to go to an overtime. 2x2 rolling start. And the green flag waves. It's a 2-lap session then to determine who's going to win the race. And it is Ziortzis who retains the lead as they run through the first corner. Everyone very close-knit further back. But what's happened to Patrick Schauber? Schauber slows down. Oh, and Jack Davidson collects the number 27 Double V racing car. That was a nasty impact. And the race, understandably, is stopped. Vladimiros Ziortzis crosses the line under safety car to win the race. Not in the circumstances that he would have liked, but Vladimiros Ziortzis is a race winner in Brands Hatch for the first time. You ride on board here with Jack Davidson. Looks like something just broke on Patrick Schauber's car. And Davidson had absolutely nowhere to go. The good news is that he's out of the car, as is Patrick Schauber, as is Vladimiros Ziortzis in victory lane. Another win for the Cypriot.
3 in a row. Wow, what a series of wins you had in the EuroNASCAR 2. Just talk us through the race. How did you make this magical race happen?
You remember what I told you before the start, that from this race is a new start, because this day today didn't start at my best way. But anyway, we are back to the wins. That's the most important. Everything is fine, and after the heavy crash. So thanks God, we did it, and we keep going.
Sometimes we need to force also the teams behind the drivers to get in front of the camera. Stefano Bacci, how proud are you of Vladimir Ziortzis?
To Vladimir, I'm very happy because this year to me is very promise, and nothing. We have the problem to the throttle cable. We solve the problem, and we see it's very fast. And tomorrow we open an M Pro to 4 point additional to more pass in front.
How is it as a driver to win, especially here with so many people cheering for you?
Win here, I think, is like for a Formula 1 driver to win Monte Carlo, you know. Here is the most important, I think, where you have a lot of crowd, you know, is incredible. And just to win in front of these fantastic people must be so intensive, so strong for a driver. And I'm very happy for Vladimir for that.
There you go, Ziortzis receiving his plaudits from team boss and ex-Formula 1 driver Alex Caffey. It's a 100% record that will be retained into Speedfest Sunday for Vladimiros Ziortzis. Thomas Dombrowski winning the rookie trophy. The legend trophy going to Claudio Remeggio Capelli despite that contact with Mikael Bleekemolen. And Ariana Casoli winning the lady trophy classification as we now get ready for day 2 at American Speedfest. Exciting racing from all parties on Speedfest Saturday. Let's see what round 4 of both championships brings.